Hi everybody and welcome to A Better You, your one-stop shop for everything self-improvement, self-care and self-discovery. Today we're going to do something a touch different than the usual content, and we're going to look at how I cleared my skin from acne and specifically how I did that with my skincare routine. So I'm going to put in pictures just so that you can see how it looked before, but essentially I used to get spots all the way down here. My chin was constantly covered in spots, and I would get spots in here as well, and they never really had heads to them, so it was kind of impossible to just put on a spot treatment because it wouldn't really do anything. My skin would dry out if I put traditional spot treatments on it, but then the spots also would still be there. So I did some research, and at the start of this year I really kind of committed to getting that skincare right to make sure that at 33 I don't have teenage acne. And I think I'm finally there, and you can see now that my skin is a lot clearer. I do have a touch of makeup on, but it's only makeup from this morning, so you can see it's wearing off. And you can see now it's really clear, and I will show you once I've washed the makeup off as well, just to kind of show what that looks like without makeup on it. So let's get started. The first step in my routine is to wash off my makeup, but to wash it off in such a way that my skin is not sore from it, it's not getting really dried out from it. I used to use micellar water, and I know people rave about it, but for me it just dried my skin out really badly. It guaranteed that I would end up with flaky skin for days afterwards. And so I've switched to using pure coconut oil, which I know a lot of people don't recommend, but for me it's worked. So I literally just use pure coconut oil, and I get just a tiny amount of it, just this amount. Rub it together so that it's no longer that solid consistency. I live in England, so it stays solid for most of the year. And all I do is just rub that gently into my skin. And I rub it particularly in areas where I know I have makeup that's stubborn. And so for the most part for me that is eye makeup. I don't wear a huge amount of makeup beyond eye makeup. I'll wear a little bit of foundation, but beyond that not a lot. So it does tend to be the eyes that I will focus in on. And once I've done that, all I will do is just splash my face and wash that off, and then we'll move on to the next step. So with the coconut oil just washed off, just with water, I move on to the next step, which is my actual cleanser. And you can see here that's La Roche-Posay. And I've just found this one to be so gentle with my skin that, again, it just doesn't dry it out, it doesn't make it flaky, which with a lot of the cleansers I found that they had a tendency to do. All I'm doing here is just rubbing it in my hands with a bit of water just to get it so it's nice and foamy. And then just gently placing it on my face. I'm not really rubbing here, I'm barely touching my face, so you can't see the pressure, but it's very light. And again, just going in, giving the product a chance to work, but not really pushing it in my skin as such. And then once it's had about 30 seconds just to really take effect, I just wash that off. So my next step somewhat varies. So once a week I will use just the Neutrogena Refreshingly Clear, just for a very mild exfoliation. I would never use it more than once a week because it just dries my skin out. And sometimes if I haven't used the exfoliant that week, then instead, and this is probably only once for about 6 weeks at this stage, I just use this glycolic acid peel. So this is a 35% peel, and I don't use it anywhere else on my skin than just here. And that's just because I have a very fine wrinkle that's appeared in my old age. And so it just helps with reducing that down and making it a bit less there. So all I'm going to do is show you this one for today. So again, tiny amount, and I just rub it between my hands, rub it onto my face, and then wash it off. With all that done, so we have a nice clean surface to work with, I don't really use toners, and again, I found they dried my skin out, and I found that they did cause acne, so I've stopped with those completely. So the next steps that I move on to are masks, serums, and moisturizers. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you just how my skin's looking now. And you can see I've got a bit of old scarring down here that I'm working on getting rid of. But beyond that, the spots themselves are actually, for the most part, gone. I think I've got a little bit of an old one here. It's mostly gone though, to be honest. But this, for the most part, keeps my skin fairly clear. So for the summer, it's kept it completely clear. I'm just slightly editing my routine a bit now for the winter, because this is where this one's come from, that my skin got a touch more dried out once we had the central heating on. With that said, one of my favourite masks to use is this hyaluronic one. You can see that I've already actually used this last night, and so I'm not going to use it again today. But essentially, once I've used masks like this, if I've still got loads of serum left, all I do is I just keep the packet, and you can see you get all the last bits of the serum out, and it just means that you've got your value out of that pack, really. And I just put it onto my face, just like that. I also, with any serums and moisturizers, also do my neck, also do the back of my hands, just because if you have a beautifully young face but then nice old hands, it's a touch of a giveaway. With that done, again, some of my personal skincare concerns are around aging, moisture, and spots, obviously. And one of the first serums that I have in my rotation is a retinol serum, and this retinol serum is just for specific parts of my face. So as I said earlier, I've got a bit of a fine line situation going on here and just here and here, and these bits just get a bit sensitive. So if I am going to use this, then I only ever use it in those areas, and I only ever use a really small amount, because I find retinol quite tough on my skin. So all you do is pop a bit between my fingers and just pop it on any specific anti-aging areas that I'd like to focus on. And then the next step that I have is hyaluronic serum. So I have two different hyaluronics that I switch between. I don't really have a preference, to be honest. To be honest, I've tried loads of different ones. None of them have really caused my skin any issue. They've all really helped. I think hyaluronic just works for my skin. And so I'm pretty generous with the hyaluronic, and I think my skin really needs it. I notice the less generous I am with this, the more spots I get. So I think this is probably the key ingredient. And all I do is just rub that in once it's on my skin. Again, really gentle here. I'm not putting any pressure on my skin at all. And again, just going on the backs of my hands and on my neck as well. And then once all that's done, I have two different moisturizers that I like to use. One of them's for daytime and one of them's for nighttime. So my daytime one at the moment is this Flawless Photo Glow one. But it's not daytime right now, so I'm not going to use that one right now. But that one I find is just nicer under makeup. It's a bit silkier. And the one that I use for nighttime, which is this one, has a little bit of texture that I just don't like with my makeup on, and so I don't like to use it in the daytime. But to be honest, if it wasn't for that, if I didn't wear makeup, then I'd be using this one in the daytime as well. So when all that's said, and you can see how much I love it because it's nearly gone, just take a tiny amount, about a pea-sized amount maybe, rub it between my fingers, and again just pop that all over my face. And I do try to focus in on areas that I know I'm having particular issues with. So especially around here is particularly unmoisturized for me, and up here is usually a dry area for me. So I focus in on those areas when I'm using those. And again, I do the backs of my hands and my neck just to make sure that we don't have, like, down the line 50-year-old skin here and 20-year-old skin here. I think I'm dreaming on the 20-year-old skin already, to be honest, but you know. And then my final step, and I do this every night, and this is probably unusual to do this every night, but again, all of my skin issues have come from not moisturizing my skin enough and from my skin being desperate for any kind of moisture. And so the last step that I do, during winter at least, is to put on this Sanctuary Moisturizing Hydrating Mask, Glacial Splash. And again, I'll put product links, but it's not sponsored. And all I do, I get quite a decent chunk of this. And because It's overnight, and because nobody's seeing me other than my husband, who's used to this, all I do is put it on quite thickly all over my face and let it sink in overnight. It has a quite strong smell, to be honest. I don't love the smell, but I do love the effect. You just rub it all in. I'm quite careful with this one near my eyes because it makes my eyes a touch sore, but I do like to get it up here. Again, all around here and on the backs of my hands as well. And with all that said, that is my skincare routine, and that's actually cleared up my skin. So I'm not a big water drinker. I know everybody says that you should drink loads of water to clear your skin and your food should be different and vitamins and all that kind of good stuff. I literally didn't change anything about my diet or anything about how much water I drink to clear my skin. I literally just fixed my skincare, and this was what I did. Essentially what my skincare issue was with the acne, it turned out that everything I was doing to fix the acne was actually basically damaging the skin barrier, and that's what was causing the acne. And apparently this is quite a common problem. And so literally this whole skincare routine focuses on really being quite rewarding to your skin, treating your skin, benefiting your skin, just generally giving your skin lots of lovely treats without taking its goodness away. That said, if I really do get desperate and I really do just have one of those spots that just pops up unexpectedly and I just want it to come to fruition earlier, then I do use just the Mario Badescu. So this was purely for rare treatments as opposed to put all over your face, because again, quite damaging. With all that said, that's the skincare routine that helped me to clear my skin up. Hopefully it can help you to do the same. If you do have any questions or if you'd like me to do more videos like this, then please comment below. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more self-improvement, self-care and self-discovery content.